Okay, RB05 training. Now, I was waiting for a rather noisy motorbike to stop riding around our neighbourhood, but since it hasn't been, you'll probably just hear it now, since it's not really finishing up, we may as well start now anyway. Okay, so I'm grabbing RB05. These are manually command line of sight, I think is what the acronym is. In short, these are manually guided with a up, down, left, right control in the cockpit. Um, there we go. I'll explain more as we go. Quick start up, get ourselves up and moving. And I've got a real treat for you. Our target for today is going to be a lot of fun. It's a defended target. A seat, that's all good. And I'll just quickly show you now while we're on the ground. This is the weapon selector switch. Now you would think this missile would have one use, right? So you'd put it to attack. But not in this case. This, see here, probably read it upside down. It says RB05. This outer band says what kind of target you'll be hitting it with. You'll be hitting with this missile. So SHO, or SJO, means anti-ship. Mark means ground target for ground fusing. And Luft means air-to-air. So this missile does have air-to-air fusing for hitting air targets. You'll be doing very well hitting anything with this missile, but it is possible. I have a running bet with my squadron mates that if they shoot down a human-controlled aircraft with one of these, I will buy them some beverage of their choice. But for the most time, you will just use it on mark mode. And input. Oh, we haven't got a data cartridge yet. So our target will be up here. I've put some defenses around it. This motorbike, I swear to God. We've got man pads up on this mountain, which we won't really see until they fire on us. That's not good. We've got high caliber and low caliber AAA, including a Shilka, I believe, in close here. So this is a relatively well defended target. It could have more defenses, but our target are these chemical tanks, which you can see clipping into the ground just there. Now I've had a bit of a quick, 15 minutes of scripting in an explosion where if I hit one, it'll blow them all up. So the idea is to hit this from a good standoff range and work from there. I'm going to set a fixed point on this island here. Although there are a lot of islands around here, aren't there? Which might be a problem. In some ways, there's too much variety in this map, but for the moment, this will be good enough. Our target's static, so I'll use a normal waypoint here. B2 is the target. And that's all we really have to do. Data cartridge in. Actually, hang on. Before I go data cartridge in, select the cartridge we want. Tempest 2 marks, that's the time. And yes, I am recording this one like bare minutes after I've finished recording the RB04 one as well. So, yeah. Would recommend selecting the weapon selector switch before you take off, so you're not looking for it in flight. Okay. We'll taxi to the runway. And then we'll go and take out these targets. Let's just get ourselves over here. There we go. Switching to nav. Got our HUD back, full burner every time. There we go, looking good. Let's keep our nose centered on the runway. Pulling up. So one benefit to these weapons is that they are always held. I should have shown you really. They're always held on the chin stations, which is good because we can have jamming and countermeasure pods, which we do have here. So, in fact, let's make this a bit of an information overload, and I will show you how to use jamming pods. So, firstly, jammers are controlled by down here, these two knobs here. So, firstly, flick it to A. That starts the warm-up process. You'll see down here it says KBHKASL, which all just means that it's warming up nicely. We're at speed, so I'll go to burner 1. Once it's finished warming up, you can flick it to B and then any of these letters here and it will jam. Normally this would be the radar band, so like whether you're jamming Q band, X band, that kind of stuff, but in DCS it's all handled automatically, so that's good, right? Alright, let's make this a fast flight. So I guess the question would be, how does the remote control function of this missile actually work? My understanding is that it's the air-to-ground radar, which will send out pulses of information as you send out commands to guide the missile in. You'll have to set completely different bindings. You can't just use the radar stick. It's actually this guy down here, this little black nodule thing, is your up, down, left, right command. So I guess the pilot would hold the stick with their left hand and move the controls here. You could use autopilot as well to stabilize the aircraft, but that has some tactical concerns. But we'll see. I'll just go to burner 1 while we cruise through here. And I'll show you the controls. I have it set to the castle hat, the DMS switch. RBO 5, up, down, left, right. I haven't set the intermediate up, right, left, right diagonals. Recommendation is, and this will take practice, I mean I may even just miss this time too, sometimes that's how it just goes, but recommend that you practice a lot and get good with this missile. The hardest part I find is judging depth, so where the missile is relative to the ground, relative to the target. In particular, hitting ship targets is really tricky because you have one moment, because you don't really have a good idea of depth off the ocean. At least I've found that. Let's see if we can find our fixed point on radar. It should be bang on, honestly. There shouldn't be much drift at all. Let's increase the gain a bit. And let's go to a bar scan. Not really sure what we're seeing here. Let's get a bit closer. I think it's just coming in now. There's little shadows there. In some ways, selecting a very small fixed point like this is good because it's more accurate, but it is harder to spot. You have to get closer to make use of it. We can also help ourselves by going into linear mode down here and then walking the gain back up. There we go, clear as day. Fix, done. And that was a tiny amount of drift we had before. So now, let's switch to the next waypoint. Now, unlike most weapons in the Viggen, we really want to employ this with some altitude. We need to be able to dive down, and we want to use our range and distance to stay outside of threat rings. I'm just mindful that I might have put some ships along here, so let's just make sure we've got volume. Just realised that my headphone jack wasn't put in properly, that's why I couldn't hear anything. Anyway, our target is up ahead, and you notice we've gone to ANF, but nothing really changes on the display. Essentially what you'll do is line up the target in the flight path marker, fire, and then make adjustments. That's as simple as it is, but it's simple in theory, complex in practice. So let's see how we go. I did once snipe a single SA-9 infrared SAM with one of these, so you can get good results if you're very focused, but it's tricky, and you've really got to keep the target within the within the HUD glass. We've got 2 shots to make this work, so let's see how we go. Once you trigger unsafe, the battery begins to run. I'm not sure about the length of how long the charge is kept, but just be mindful of that. If I hit this one first go, I'll try and get one of the AAA sites. Okay. Actually, I can see there are the chemical barrels right there. And of course, the closer you are, the more, the better the sight picture, but the less time you have to make adjustments. So there's no real hard and fast rule. It's just about firing when it feels right. If, for whatever reason, if you try and fire 2 missiles at the same time, the system will actually focus on guiding just one missile, and the other will fly up and be a failure. If you turn off angle completely, the radar can't give any signals, the missile will also fly way off. So you can't fire and forget these no matter how you try. Keeping as high as I can, actually I'm going to offset to the side a bit first. Let's see. That's better. We really want to be diving when we use these. Alright, we're clear of the clouds, so once we get to about 11 or 10 o'clock, I'll turn in and drop this missile down. And there's our target nice and clear. If we hit one, we should be able to take them all out. Alright, let's try now. Again, the flatter your approach, and this is somewhat flat of an approach, the less accuracy you'll get up and down, but that's okay. Put the flight path marker on the target, and I'm going to keep control. I'm not going to go autopilot. Let's just... Now we want to keep this little flare on the back. It has a little... Oh, we're going way off. Gentle corrections, don't overcorrect. Gentle corrections. Gentle corrections, ignore the AAA. Come on, baby, you got this. You've got that. Oh my god. I hit it. Now we're going to be defensive because there's a good chance something's coming for us. Missiles, AAA. I can see little flashes from the bullets. Let's get ourselves low and away from the firing line as possible. Now that should shield us from that. Yeah, look. Did you see that? A shell landed behind us. So yeah, plenty of AAA down there, and I think a missile got launched. Did it? No, those are our flares. I triggered them. So yes, I had the flare button pressed as well. Alright, let's try that again. And let's see. Burner 1. Let's see what's left. So we could try and pick out a new target. There's a... This is a pretty heavy caliber cannon. It's a bit of an awkward angle, but it's on that little... It's on the north side of that. What's it called, actually? The harbour's called Many Branch Harbour. That's a fitting name. I don't think we'll be able to hit it, but I'll try my best. It's be up on this. Yeah, we'll make it work. Climbing up. And yes, the time of flight there was a bit scary. It's a pretty fast missile, so I can see someone having some success with, dueling SAMs, but you want to be careful. Okay. Reverting to my gauges. There's a target. In some ways being slow is good, but also not, so your mileage may vary. Where is that AAA site? I'm having trouble seeing it. Can you see it? Because I can't. I'm just madly searching. Well, there should be one right here somewhere. Yeah, okay, there's one. Shilka on the nose. Let's try and hit that. We'll probably get tagged by this SAM, though. Gonna add some power. Let's go burner 1. Countermeasures are on. And let's track this over here. Don't hit the houses. Oh, yeah. Little gentle maneuvers. See, I did some pretty extreme maneuvers, and that's something I'm paying for right now. Oh, dearie me. Come on, buddy. Nah, that's a dead loss, I'm pretty sure. Oh, no. Yes, I got him. Full power on. Lots of AAA. Lots of AAA. And we're actually going to fly over the heads of this SA-18 SAM. Keep ourselves really, really low and fast. And I bet there's shells all over us right now. Yep, there they go. Alright, good one. Okay. Keep ourselves low again, because there's a good chance that Manpad saw us since we flew almost in contact with him. And yes, when in doubt, go low and fast every time. We are supersonic. And that's that. That's the RBO-5. So it's a tricky weapon. Really good for emplacements, I find, like infrastructure. So if you need to nail some... We should be right from here, I think. If you need to nail a bunker, they're great for that, if you know what you're doing. Bunkers, bridges to some extent. I prefer rockets for bridges, so that's just me. It's a good weapon to have, and yeah, you technically can bring down things like cargo planes and even bombers, I suppose, with one of these, but you'd be doing very well to hit someone, flying a fighter. Okay, I think we're clear of that SA. Yes, we are. Where is that Manpad? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we flew right past this guy. I didn't see it, but I could smell him. All right, let's try a landing at the road base again. Again, we're going to fly very supersonic to get home, and we'll may as well shut down the jammer. We didn't really use it today. No radar threats besides the Shilka, which isn't there anymore because we shot it down, shot it up. Landing nav. We're going to do a flip-flop. Now, I'll actually fly as though I've got no visibility. Mach 1.4. That's pretty fast. Actually, I'll go idle. Okay. Autopilot on. Once we get past the transonic region, which is about here, you'll see the nose will move as we pull down through transonic. There it is, it's lifting. And then it probably will drop again, I think. Subsonic, there it is. Be mindful of that when you're flying in. Okay. Let's do a radar fix on the road base. It should be pretty easy to see. Pull out of linear mode. Linear mode, by the way, will, it kind of allows you to very finely set how much gain you want, but log is probably what you'll use most of the time. And that looks pretty well bang on to me. I think if I try and fix that, it's going to be introducing more errors than it's fixing. So yeah. Got some jamming strobes there from that Grisha on the right side. I could try and hit that with an RBO5, but SA8's probably pushing it. So it's really cool seeing that jamming strobe come through. I think it's cool. Alright. So we're going to basically follow our gauges all the way in until the very last second, emulating a poor weather landing on a road base. Actually, that's probably what my next video will be on, is a poor weather landing at road bases, showing that it can be done. It's just not terribly easy. Certainly, I find doing non-visual landings in a Viggen, even on a road base in poor weather, easier than doing instrument approaches in the MiG-21. That's just scary. A bit closer now. We might be able to get a bit of a fix happening. No, that's pretty close to bang on. Yeah. Okay. Let's get some lights on so they know we're coming. Oh yeah, your nose light is under here. I don't know if I can move. There it is. It's there. It's extremely hard to see. A real pain in the ass, really. Okay. On approach to landing. Let's do a brief time acceleration, because if I'm getting bored, you're getting bored. Interesting. The ADI is commanding us to climb, whereas the HUD is commanding us to dive. I usually suggest following the ADI in cases like this, but we'll see. And a little bit closer. Just gentle time acceleration. What's the worst that could happen? We're a little bit heavier than our last landing, so let's see if that affects the approach. You really want to be as slow and light as possible on landing on a road base. Certainly as light as possible helps. Okay, now they're both consistent. Let's drop down. Bring our power back. And we're just entering the arc now. So it'll start to gently track off to the left. And we're still a bit high according to the system. And we'll keep our gear up until we see the tills come on. Just staying in line with our guidance. Almost at the correct altitude, so we'll just hold that. A little extra bit of power. Again, that would be showing a dangerously low level of angle of attack, but that's just because our gear is not down yet. So it's not so bad. It's once the gear's down, you've really got to respect that AOA indexer. Getting some Till's guidance now, a little bit, left and right. And you'll see it snap too once it has the correct guidance. There it is. Guidance, gear, reverser armed. Alright, let's catch the guidance. It'll bring us in at an off angle, which is not great for road bases, but that's just a consequence of having a single point be our INS, our ILS, I should say. So many TLAs, 3-letter acronyms. How does one cope? There's our road base. We can see it in real life, but I'm just going to fly the parameter so you can see what it looks like. And yes, I'm pretty sure I'm going to show off non-visual landings soon in the Viggen. Good news is those 2 white containers I have positioned show up very nicely, even against fog, which are coming into land. So that's handy. Let's set up a bit straighter. Good for back health and good also for keeping your Saab from hitting something you can't see. Bit of turbulence on the way in, but the wind is on our side. I think, actually, that guidance is way off. Look at that. I would suggest that something is wrong with my Till's guidance, so I'm going to take a visual from here, and I will fix this. Normally it should guide you right down to the road itself. I think we might have the... Yes, I know what it is. We have the rearming point. Okay, I'm going to pause here at this precarious moment and explain what's happening. So, at our road base, you will notice there is an invisible fart point right here. This is what is listed as road base Warsaw, yeah? Back here, though, I have to place an invisible FARP as well for rearming. Otherwise, these don't work. So our aircraft is trying to guide us in for a landing at this point, not this point. So, this might be a missed approach. Yeah, off angle. I'm going to rule a missed approach. I could try and salvage it, but at the same time, that's not really what I'm telling the guys I fly with to do. So I've got to lead by example here. Let's check our Reflola output. Scroll through to our air bases and scroll to Warsaw 21. Yeah, it's got the rearming point. We want 9020 as LS. There we go. Good to know. Being so close, the guidance was pretty much accurate enough, and I did set the runway headings to be exactly the same, just so that we could get a, even if you forgot to change it, you wouldn't get a nav syst error. So what you set the runway heading as, or what the runway heading is for your airbase, is very important. Otherwise you get nav syst errors, but we'll discuss that later on once we've done a proper landing. Let's go nav, and then back to landing nav. Let's see if we can try that again. This time, whisker less fuels too, and let's see if the system is any more accurate. I think it will be. I'm wondering just how many eggshell cartons I would need to soundproof my house. You don't have to hear every single car drive past. That's what I should do. I should start a Patreon, and yeah, at a certain level, a certain amount of income, I will invest in soundproofing. Oh, hang on. That is interesting, isn't it? How we're getting different guidance from the ADI and from the HUD. They're consistent now. I think there's almost like a descent phase that we're missing there. Anyway. Alright, we're on parameters. There it is. It's guiding us around the corner. I want to be a little bit lower. Adding some power. We want to be at 550. You could use the reverser, but I recommend not using the reverser unless you are actually overwhelmed by what you're doing, like overloaded. Just that the reverser is reactive to your pitch, whereas you can kind of set the power as needed. Anyway, I'll show that off on a more dedicated road-based landing training mission once I have it up. Oops, actually we're a little bit low. That's the worst kind of wrong to be on doing a non-visual landing, is too low. That looks substantially healthier. Okay, tills as tracked. Let's get the gear out. Reverser is still armed, that's good. Alright, let's make this turn in for the runway heading. Yes, we should see a very different approach this time as we get closer and closer. It's actually aligned to the correct location. That looks pretty well bang on. Let's hold that position. We're a little bit fast, but that's okay. Might be worth me putting the seat a little bit higher, actually. There we go. Much more comfortable. Yeah, just by your left thigh is a little switch. Allows you to quickly set the height of the seat. For Delta aircraft like the Mirage and the Viggen, that's pretty huge because we do land with a fair bit of flare. I mean, that's our landing attitude. And that isn't even the higher angle, 15-degree attitude, which is risky and dangerous, but fun. I don't really use the 15-degree mode. It's activated by pressing this button down here, and it will, as you see, it's commanding us to slow down even more. You know, let's try it. We'll see what happens. 15 degrees is really on the limit. The engine doesn't like being at 15 degrees, or much above it, I should say. It's okay if you're consistent, but if things go wrong at this sort of attitude, like you can see right now, dearie me. You see the angle's pretty extreme, like that's what it looks like coming in. So yeah, good for very short landings. But there's not that much of an advantage, and the lack of stability coming in to make last-minute adjustments is not great. So by here, we have to have spotted the runway, otherwise we wave off. So that's about, yeah, within 5Ks, if you don't see the runway, then you've got a problem. It's not really a full non-visual landing. You need to be able to see something, and adjust for that angle off. I'm going to clear my HUD. There we go. Landing PO per optical. And let's, oh dear. Yeah, this is why I don't like this mode, because it puts the flight path marker right at the bottom of the HUD, but we do land slower. And that's pretty much bang on though. Reverser on full power. Brakes for alignment. Yeah, we stopped very nicely then. Our approach was much, much slower. Maybe 15 degrees isn't so bad now, but yeah, I find the basic mode is quite adequate. Alright, well that was our quick and dirty lesson on the RB05. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do manage to get a kill with the RB05, please leave a comment below. Forget my metrics, I just want to hear about it. That's going to be cool. So, yeah. I took down a bomber with one. So it was a Tupolev 16, I think it was. And I fired, and he just gently began this like left-hand turn, this really gentle sort of turn. Maybe a flight plan change, and that was still pretty hard to allow for. But very impressive. It took him out in one hit, so yeah. Very cool. Anyway, better say good day to Greg here, and we'll sign off. Good day, Greg.